Hi, this is Angela of Mid-Modern Mama, and today I'm going to teach you how to make these little clusters of fall leaves that you can use in all kinds of ways to decorate your house for the fall. I've made these out of pages of old books, but you could also make them out of construction paper or any kind of paper that you're interested in, craft paper. You could do this in a whole variety of ways. And they are simply attached to clothespins. You can string them together along a string, which I'll show you in a little bit, and make a garland. You can use them individually and clip them onto things like lamps and other parts of your home decor and use them as little accents around the room. But they are super simple to make and really make everything look so festive for fall. So let me show you what you're going to need. You will need a hot glue gun and some hot glue. You could also do this with other glue as well, but I find the hot glue is really easy to use, and the best part is when you're done and you've decided this doesn't work anymore for you or whatever, you can just peel it off the clothespins and reuse the clothespins. Some of my clothespins have been used several times in several different ways. So you'll need hot glue. You need some clothespins. I like this small size. These are about 1.5 inches long. You can also use the larger ones though. I have some of those as well. I just happen to have more of the small ones, and they're lighter. So if you're thinking about making a garland or something like that with these, I think the smaller ones are the way to go, but use whatever you have around the house. I happen to have a whole bunch of these, so that's what we're using today. And then you need some leaves. So these I cut out of some old books. I took 2 books, traced 3 shapes on them, and there's a whole tutorial for how to do that on my website. And cut them out using a scroll saw. You could also use a jigsaw. And they came out beautifully. They're really, really great. And they're really lovely. I then took them and watercolored the edges of them because as just a plain leaf, they didn't have a lot of texture and dimension. And so I made that edge a little crisper with a little color. I just held them all together like this and just watercolored the edges. And so, and then let them dry. So here they are. I've also folded them. So you'll see I put just kind of 1 crease in this oak leaf. This leaf is just creased down the middle too. With the maple leaves, I've put 3 folds in them, just like this, 1, 2, and 3. And that just helps them kind of become more 3-dimensional. If you like the flat look though, go for that. And you could do this all with 1 shape. You could do it with multiple shapes. I like the 3 because I get some variety. But that's up to you and what you have available. If you have a Cricut, you could also do this with a Cricut, which I certainly would be great, but it'll take a lot longer. So I had 2 books that were about 300 pages each or so that I used to cut up for these, and so I have roughly 900 leaves. I have a whole bin here, and I've used them in a variety of ways this fall, and I'll probably have enough that I can do some more things with them next fall, which is really fun. Okay, so I have my leaves, and the trick to this, and it's not really a trick, is to start building. You're going to build this kind of bunch, and then don't worry if it starts to get flat as you are building it, because you can go back and kind of poof up those edges a little bit. But we're going to build it with a variety of shapes and sizes. There is no science to this. This is all art. It is all about just kind of making it look as organic and natural as you want. You can build these nice and big. You can make them small. I start with a bigger leaf and kind of a bigger dollop of glue on the back. And then I stick this in and move it around. And now, of course, anyone knows that hot glue is actually kind of overkill on paper. You certainly don't need hot glue on paper, but it helps hold this all together so well that I decided that hot glue was the way to go. I also really love this Italian paper glue. This would be another one. I would still hot glue it to this, but if you wanted to use a good paper glue to then glue all the pages and just use the hot glue for holding the clothespin down, that would be another way to do this. For expediency's sake, I'm just going to use the hot glue. So that puddle was so big that I'm able to put a couple of leaves, whoops, into that before it dries. And they really just barely have to be caught on because the hot glue, which is just basically melted plastic, is going to hold them. So now I have a good base here. And now I'm going to work from the front. Be careful, don't burn yourself. This is medium temperature glue, I think. There's no reason to use high temperature glue for this project at all. So I'm going to fold these just a little bit more, give them a little more 3D dimension. And then I'm just going to work in some of these. Just a nice dollop of glue. That's plenty for 2 or 3 leaves. So I'm going to stick another of these on here. And then, oof, stick that onto here. And again, you're kind of going for this 3-dimensional effect. And you want it to be secure, but with paper, and especially if this isn't something that's going to move a lot, you do not have to worry too much about these things being super secure. The other thing I like about doing this as you're doing it, and so I'm going to just pull 3 of these together, put some glue right in the center of those 3. And that will easily hold this down. And there you go. And it's all done. You could build this much bigger if you want to. You can also make much smaller ones. I have one over here. So this is teeny. It's just 3 of these small leaves and 1 maple leaf on here and clipped together. Totally great. You can go as big or as small as you want and or need. And then if you want to take this and turn it into a garland, this is a super simple way to build a garland too. So I have this twine and if I was going to create a garland out of this, then just clip the clothespins onto the twine. And you could do this, you can spread them apart so that there's some space in between, or you can put them closer together so they kind of overlap and fill in depending on what you're wanting your garland to look like. One of the ways I use these little clips is to just clip them onto something like this. You can clip them onto a lampshade, obviously this little jar. You can clip them onto a mirror or onto a picture frame. Anywhere where you want just a little pop of color and texture for the season, you can do that as well. I have lots more ideas for fall decorations and things that you can make. I hope you enjoyed this. Thanks so much for watching. Like and subscribe.